Burger King. So I made my first ad icon. This was a suggestion from my last live stream. I believe it was Variety Show Uncut that suggested the Burger King. Personally, I don't like Burger King all that much. But it was fun to do the sculpt. Now, before I go any further, know that this one is for sale. It's the first one that I've done on my channel that is completely for sale. As soon as this one goes live, this video goes live, it'll be on my Etsy. If it's not there, if you guys are checking like now and it's not there, just give me a few more minutes and I'll have it up there. But yeah, this guy is for sale because again, not my favorite. But he did turn out pretty darn cool though. Now I did use the exact same sculpt for the King Deadpool, so the body isn't quite the way it should be, but I think it's close enough. I used a few more materials. The only thing I regret not doing for this one is I made the front part of the crown different than the other ones. I wish I had just made them all match and used the more clover-like pattern for all of it. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty darn good. It's still a bobblehead because it started out as a Deadpool and I just kept it that way, so that's a thing. I fixed the burger because the other one looked horrible. But it had green sesame seeds on it. Who puts green sesame seeds on a burger? But yeah, I think I kept pretty true to the Burger King. Hopefully y'all like it, and it turned out pretty well, I think. I used a different type of brush technique or paint technique that I'll do in the video. I'll tell about in the video. And just so you know, when I do different types of sculpts on pops, they all come in a box just wrapped in tissue paper because I can't really use the insert anymore, but it does still have the sticker on it. So just so you know, when you go to purchase, if you go to purchase, or if you ever order a custom from me at all. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think, and hope you guys like the video. Okay guys, so as you can see, the first step is deconstruction. Did this off camera, so the head is now separate from the body, and I also cut off the crown, or tried to pull it off, but it didn't come off clean, so I did have to cut it. So right now what I'm doing is trying to clean up the crown a little bit, sanding it down where I didn't cut it properly, and also sanding a little bit of the spot in the head off or out so it'd be a little bit smoother. I planned on positioning the crown in the middle, which was fairly easy. You just had to glue it on afterwards, because Burger King doesn't have a sideways crown. So after that comes the epoxy. Now, it was kind of hard working with epoxy with a hole in the head. What you have to do really is kind of put down a layer of epoxy first. Now, if it was something more solid than this hollow head, you could probably stuff tissue paper or something in there, something to make the hole not a hole, make it more dense pretty much. But there's no real way to carve a smooth surface over that deep of a hole, really, without some type of indentation. So I did have to go ahead. There was an indentation in the head. I did have to wait till the next day, till that cured, to go over it. So this did make the hair go into a 2-day process. I pretty much just did like 3/4 of the head of hair the first day, and then the rest of it the next day. I tried to make it as flush as possible with the face, obviously not so much in the back, but just to making it look fairly decent, went around the entire head with the sculpting tool, blending it with water as I went along. And as I got the shapes in there that I wanted, including the first little curly cue there on the side for the first day, I went in with my tools and did the little ridges around the hair while the epoxy is still wet, obviously. Epoxy can be sanded down after it's cured, but it cannot be carved into. You have about 3 hours of working time, which is plenty of time, I promise you. You don't have to rush. But yeah, I just have to go through and make the hair texture. I'm getting better at hair texture, I think. this one wasn't too bad, so I was actually kind of proud the way this turned out. So the next day came more epoxy, finishing off the rest of the hair, trying to make it look as symmetrical as possible. I didn't make it look perfect, but neither am I. And then I worked on the beard. Now, my original plan was to go ahead and use the snow text like I did with the James Dieter custom that I did for James not too long ago when I used the snow text stuff for his beard. It's a lot easier doing it that way, but I'm like, it just wouldn't look right with this one. So what I did instead, I just went ahead and used more epoxy. I brought down the epoxy to meet both ends of the head, and then I made a small triangle for the end of the beard and blended it in there, and then I also made a little mustache on him as well. And then I just go around trying to fix up as much as possible with the hair that I've already done. And you can see there I had a bit of epoxy left over. I just shoved it into a bat mold. Why not? I'll save it for Halloween and do something with it. If you do have silicone molds laying around and you make up too much epoxy if you're working with it, that's honestly the best thing to do, because you cannot save it once it's been mixed at all. It will harden no matter what, so your best chance is just to use it in something and make something out of it, even if something you don't have plans to use anytime soon. Now, I mentioned that the body does not look anything like the real Burger King does, really. But the little thing that I did decide to do is go ahead with that snow text that I was just talking about and put it around the little fuzzy part, what's supposed to be the little fuzzy parts of the collar and the robe, just to make it more three-dimensional and make it look better a little bit. So I figure that's the least I could do to change the shape of this, just a bit. And this stuff, that you can find it in any really hobby shop, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just to make snow texture on stuff, and it dries firm. It'll turn spongy, and then it'll dry firm, and it's very easy to paint on afterwards, thankfully. Next came the sandpaper. The main thing with the sandpaper I was trying to do here was just try make it as flush as possible with the forehead, the hair, because Burger King doesn't really have a lot of hair showing in between, the top of his forehead and the crown. So I was trying to make that as accurate as possible. In the end, I did have to show a bit more hair than I wanted to, but oh well. After I got that to the spot I wanted, I went ahead and did a full base coat, because I know I don't do base coats a lot, and I haven't been doing it recently almost at all. But we're talking Deadpool here. It's black and red. It's hard as hell to cover up those colors, so base coat had to be done in this case. Had to be done. And after the base coat, I can start working on the actual face. So this was the first time I finally decided to try to thin down my paint. My friend Isaac, I mentioned him in a couple other videos. He was saying how he waters down his paints and kind of gave me his ratio that he works with. I did a good job on the robe. You'll see later when I'm doing the metallic. In fact, I do the metallic just after I put down the base coat for this stuff, or the first coat of these things. But yeah, I did good with the hair. I did good with the robe. I didn't do too good with the face. So it is something I'm gonna have to work with, to play around with, just to make sure that I can tell when the paint is in the right viscosity. But yeah, I did the hair, the face, the hair. Again, the hair came out a lot better. And then I did the metallic of his robe. Now his body I pretty much made completely metallic. The robe is made of a brown metallic, and I did water down those paints as well. And they turned out perfectly. The robe, it doesn't even look like paint strokes at all. I'm actually very proud of the way that robe turned out in the end. But yeah, this did take several coats because the water does thin it down a lot, but honestly the finished product is worth it if I can get the ratio right in the future, and I do plan on trying to do harder with that. Obviously, I go ahead and paint in the hands as well when I was doing all that, and then I go in with some yellow metallic paint. And I know you guys can't really see I need to try and figure out a way so that y'all can see it better when I'm doing this. But it's almost like a mustard yellow metallic color that I have. So I went around all that with the red, and that took a lot of coats. Holy crap, that took a lot of coats. And I also painted his shirt that color as well. Yeah, it took some time. It took a lot of time. Now, y'all know it wouldn't be a Funko Pop and Unicorn Custom without me forgetting to push the record button at least once. So you can see that the face is now fully painted. I used Epoxy paint pens for the eyebrows, and then just regular paint for the eyes and the mustache. And you can see the first layer of gold has gone down on the crown as well. And I also went ahead and painted in that hairline I was talking about. Cause it didn't look good without it. I had to. Here's a controversy for y'all. Mouth or no mouth? One of the things that makes the Bird King so freaking creepy is that weird ass, not only just the mask itself, but the weird ass smile. So I'm like, I gotta do it. I cannot not do it. So I did. Also, I added white metallic to the snow text. You can't really see it here, but I promise it's there. So I go in and paint, the black part of the mouth, and then the teeth, and the pink part for the lips. I think I actually said that in reverse order. But it all got done eventually, I promise you that. I also get a darker shade of brown, almost black, to do the boots with, or no, I actually did use black, I just now remembered. It's hard to tell in the footage sometimes, sorry. But I did, and I mean, again, I am watering down this paint as I go, so it is taking a bit longer, but the end result, especially with the body, did make it look a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, so I am glad I did it this way. Now for something a little bit new. So I actually just finished a commission not too long ago where I had to make a mask for a character, and I'm like, it would be really hard to sculpt that out of epoxy, but it'd be really easy to cut it out of foam. So that's what I did. So this is just regular kids craft foam that you can get, again, any hobby store, Walmart, anything like that. And I'm tracing out the little pattern for the little, I'm gonna call it a clover, 3-leaf clover kind of thing. And again, I wish I had done this for each end of the crown and not just the center point. But I didn't. I still think it looks good. Just not, the crown, the mold of the crown was not accurate for the Burger King, and I did not feel like sculpting an entire freaking crown out of clay, because it's hard, and I didn't want to do it. So I make a couple different designs or different sizes for the little flourish, and just go with the best one and simply super glue it on top. So the Burger King isn't really well known for carrying a weapon. But I knew if I removed the sword, his hand would just be out there for no reason. So what I decided to do, I took my red paint and then later on my yellow paint and just kind of splotched it on. Maybe he's been cutting up burgers or something for people with it, and it's just got a lot of ketchup and mustard on it, so yeah. And also, I don't know if you guys can tell, but somewhere along the line, here's the way I'm doing this now, y'all, so it's not as annoying with the buzzing sound. I'm watching the footage on my phone and doing the voice recording on my computer, without the software up, because the software is what's making it go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So sometimes I miss things. But anyway, you can see the little BK logo has been painted on his chest by now. I try to make it look as close to the Burger King logo as possible. I failed, but it's close to it. It just has a BK on there with a in red and then a blue circle around it. So, and the centerpiece is yellow with the rest of his outfit. I also go over the burger. The burger that Deadpool was holding had greenish sesame seeds on it, and it was kind of gross. And of course, I also missed some with the paint, so I just went ahead and changed it a little bit. The bun is almost the exact same color, but the sesame seeds are now like a more yellowish kind of color, which is more appealing. And you can also see here that I've already done the rings. Again, you probably saw them earlier in the video, but the way I'm looking at it now, it's just hard to see. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, okay? So last, but certainly not least, usually I don't show myself doing the varnish anymore because it's kind of really repetitive. But this is Liquitex clear gloss varnish. I tried to find the high gloss varnish, but I couldn't, but this stuff is just as good. Shake it up a little bit, pour it out. You don't have to mix it with anything. You don't have to dilute it with water like I do with the matte stuff. And it's really easy to apply. I honestly like this better than I do my usual varnish. And I wanted to use this one because the Burger King is wearing a mask. So I wanted the face to look more plasticky than the rest of the body, and this definitely did it. So the rest of the body I did use my regular varnish on, and then the entire head of the king was painted or went over with this varnish. And also somewhere along the line I didn't show the rings being painted on the guy. I didn't show the mustard being painted on the sword. I didn't show the little gems being painted on the crown, or if I did, I didn't notice it. This is going to take some time to get used to and for me to figure out how to look at this on my phone properly before I can tell you guys about it. I'm sorry. But anyway, here is the full king, and also I went over that high gloss varnish on the sword too, where the splotches were to make it look wet, where the ketchup and the mustard are. And you could also see the BK on the center point of the crown as well. His head is tilted a little bit because I actually have it positioned where you can see the BK medallion that he's wearing without being blocked by the beard. So that's something that can be easily adjusted though, because obviously this is a bobblehead. So hopefully you guys like this okay. I know there's probably a lot of Burger King people out there that would love for me to make the perfect Burger King pop, but I did my best. But anyway, again, this is available on my Etsy shop if you guys are at all interested in it. So yeah, it'll be linked down below. Now the next custom is going to be a different one as well. It's not going to be the Zoo Crew. I do, as the time of this recording, I do have the next Zoo Crew one finished. But I actually did another Funko Pop before I did that Zoo Crew one. It was another commission, and I asked and the person allowed me to film the creating of it. So you're going to really enjoy the next one, I think. It's not DC, it's not Ad Icon. It's something I've never done before. It's a franchise that I've never done before in pop form, and honestly, now that I have done one, I want to do more. So click that notification bell for future custom videos, because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be liking the next one a lot. So anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching and supporting and putting up with my really bad voiceovers. I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, like always, it's a community, not a competition, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.